Coming up, attorney Milly Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Upcoming constitutional amendments. We're going to touch base on that with Milly. And I want to give a shout out to our friend Lawn Anglers, Adam Long and his team. They do a great job on all of your lawn maintenance. Lawn Anglers, Adam Long, specializes in lawn maintenance, landscaping, mulching, tree trimming, yard cleanouts. They serve all over Florida as well. Adam Long and his team, they do a great job on our real estate properties, and I recommend them. Check them out, Lawn Anglers. Adam Long and his team do a great job. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers. And a couple of hot listings here for this segment. We've got a property at 5930 River Road in Newport Richey. Over a half an acre of land, 80 feet of frontage on the Cody River, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bath. Beautiful property here in Tampa Bay, and you want to bring your boats and jet skis, enjoy that Florida lifestyle to the fullest. You have oak wood floors on the first floor, pine wood floors on the second. You have a Florida room, covered lanai, formal dining room with chandelier, stainless glass windows, large picturesque window, views of the river as well. Almost 2,000 square feet, half-acre lot, 80 feet of frontage on the Cody River in Newport Richey. Waterfront beauty at 5930 River Road, Newport Richey. 2156 Masters Court. This one's in Dunedin, Florida. Now, Masters Court is an end unit, completely renovated, beautifully remodeled property. 2 primary suites at 2156 Masters Court. 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 20 square foot condo, beautifully remodeled. In-unit laundry, have plenty of storage. Great location, close to Honeymoon Island and also the Pinellas Bike Trail. You have community pool, Dunedin Isle Golf Club, and clubhouse, restaurant, and lounge. A great opportunity to buy real estate. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com. All right, attorney Milly Athanason, welcome back to the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Thank you, Brandon. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, and we love these updates and keeping our audience informed. Upcoming constitutional amendments. What do you got for us today?
Yes, so basically, let me start out and tell you how we get amendments to our Constitution. What happens is usually there's a special interest group that starts circulating referendums, like when you go outside the courthouse and they ask you if you'd like to see the laws change on a certain topic and you sign the referendum. Once they get the required number of voters necessary to even propose a constitutional amendment, then once it's written, it has to be submitted to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has to make a determination that it's based on a single subject and that the language contained in the proposed amendment is clear, it's not ambiguous, and it will not confuse the voters. Once that happens, it can be set forth on your ballot so that when you go to vote on November 4th, then it can be placed on the ballot. In order for it to pass and become law in an amendment to our state constitution, that means that 60% of Florida voters have to vote for the amendment. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of background. But what that also means is that when it's a constitutional amendment, it's kind of the will of the people. So the legislature can't do anything thereafter to vote to change it. If you want to change a constitutional amendment, you have to go through the same process that I just explained, right? So what's on the ballot this year for the November 4th election? The Supreme Court just last week approved a few new amendments that can be placed on the ballot. The big one, of course, is the recreational use of marijuana. It's an amendment, and it basically says that it doesn't change federal laws when it comes to the use of marijuana, but it says that the state can't really do anything to prohibit people from using recreational marijuana. It decriminalizes it, and it allows the state to license vendors in order to not only sell the marijuana and its related products, but also to cultivate it, manufacture it, and such. They can use, initially it would license the current medical marijuana dispensaries to be able to serve the public and serve the marijuana recreationally. The amount to be sold can't be more than 3 ounces and not more than 5 grams in the form of a liquid concentrate. And one of the ways that they sold it to the state was that they project, anytime you do a proposed constitutional amendment, you have to set forth what the financial gain to the state would be, like a financial statement. And they're estimating that $195.6 million the state will make annually from the taxes and assessments associated with the sale of recreational marijuana.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it's that much money?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh yeah, but here's the positive side. Like if you weigh the pros and cons on this thing, it's going to be interesting to see how people play out. But it is. A lot of people argue that it's better than, drinking alcohol. You get, of course, we've all seen people get drunk and do crazy things and drive vehicles. And when you look at the flip side of that, marijuana. But I kind of stand with what like Charlie Kirk talks about with this is that, if you're allowing this type of thing to happen, it's going to get in the hands of minors. It's going to be much more acceptable. It's going to be in the hands of minors. And I just think it's a bad move for the state of Florida. That's, my take on it.
Right. No, I can appreciate that. And it really is going to put a duty on parents to make sure that their young ones are not being exposed to marijuana or not having the urges to use marijuana. Because some responsibility has to be placed on the parents to parent these children and, tell their children, hey, you're not going to use this.
Right.
And I understand that, yes, there could still be exposure if somebody's selling it at school, but it doesn't allow just the random Joe to sell it. You have to go through the dispensary, and it allows the state to license these dispensaries. So it doesn't only have to be the medical marijuana places that are currently in existence, but it would be any other type of dispensary that the state of Florida gives a license to, kind of like holding a liquor license. It would be similar.
Let me question for you on that. Before we go to another topic, when we're on this topic, would this affect, let's say, because you have the medical side, you get the medical card, and then would this affect, or could you see negative implications of it affecting people that want to carry a concealed, and I know we have the constitutional carry now, but at some point could there be legislation, or could it be an issue with, let's say, people that wanted to have marijuana, they wanted to recreational use it, or the other, and it caused them to say, "Oh no, you can't carry now because you're using a controlled substance."
So far there is no amendments or statutes placed on the. There's nothing that went through this legislative session that talked about restricting the use of carrying firearms, and there's certainly been no scuttlebutt that I've heard about it causing the future restriction of that. Now, can it potentially happen in the future? I guess anything is possible, but I haven't heard anything coming down the pike that way.
Yeah, because that's one thing to kind of consider there, think about. What else we have, Millie? Didn't mean to interject there. But
No problem. So the other big one is abortion. As you know, this past week, the Supreme Court of the state of Florida has decided that the 15-week abortion ban was legal. And what that means is that, so in 2022, they instituted the 15-month abortion ban. Planned Parenthood came in and filed a suit saying that it wasn't constitutional. So then in
15-week.
The 15-week, yeah.
Yep.
Then what happened was in 23, Governor DeSantis signed into a law the 6-week abortion limit, right? But that was placed on hold because there was already litigation pending on the 15-week amendment that had passed the year before. So now what happened is the Supreme Court of the state of Florida upheld the 15-week ban. And so what that means as to the 6-week ban is that it goes into effect within 30 days after the ruling. So basically by May 1st, the 6-week ban will be in effect in the state of Florida. However, on November 4th, the Supreme Court, at the same time that it upheld the 15-week ban, also approved Amendment 4. When I say approved Amendment 4, approved for Amendment 4 to be placed on the ballot for the voters of the state of Florida to make a decision relative to abortions. And basically what it's saying is that the state can't do anything or make any laws to prevent or in any way limit an abortion based on either whether a fetus can be viable or it's because the mother's medical health is at risk if we didn't do the abortion. So it significantly changes it because it adds that word viability. And I think in the months to come, the voters of this state are going to hear a lot of debate going back and forth about the term viability.
Right.
So if they're saying that it's based on when a fetus is viable, the definition of viability when you look at other states' laws basically says it's that time when we look at whether a fetus is expected to develop normally or whether a fetus might survive outside of the woman's uterus. Well, in order for a fetus to survive outside of the woman's uterus, that's usually at the 23 or 24-week mark.
Right.
Now, with medical technology, they've been delivering babies prior to that time with viability. But there is a big debate as, wait a minute, we're going all the way to 23 or 24 weeks. We also have to consider late-term abortions, but the law does say that it could be late-term as long as the woman's health is at risk if they went through with the delivery of the baby. But 23 or 24 weeks, I mean, I can tell you that most abortion doctors will not perform an abortion at that late stage of a pregnancy.
Right.
Most of them only want to do it around the 15 or 16-week mark, unless there's some medical reason to do it otherwise. But what it's doing by placing it on the constitutional amendment ballot is that if voters approve this, then that means that now the state and the governor can't enact legislation to in any way prohibit a woman from getting an abortion under this new constitutional ruling.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting, and it gets a little confusing, too. We're talking with attorney Milly Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and I think there were the other two exceptions, too, for rape and incest. Is that right, Milly?
Okay, that's on the 6-week ban. Now,
okay, that's back to the 6-week ban. There we go. Get out your notepad. Yeah.
So back on with the legislation on the 6-week ban, which would go into effect May 1st, what it says is that we can't go beyond 6 weeks unless there's rape or incest, or the life of the mother is severely going to be impaired by the continuation of the pregnancy, right?
Yeah.
So it does provide those loopholes, but that's on the legislation that's going to go into effect May 1st. If this constitutional amendment passes in November, that 6-week rule is going out the window. And they're going to be operating somewhat similarly to the basis that they were operating under when Roe versus Wade was in effect.
Okay. Yep. Milly Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Elder law, family law, personal injury law. Attorney Milly Athanason, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to take a quick break, come back more with Attorney Milly on the flip side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Follow us online. We'd love to connect. And we do have the podcast out there. You can open up your podcast app and search Real Estate Quarterback Show, Consumer Quarterback Show. Also, youtube.com/Real Estate Quarterback Show as well. And we will be right back. More with Attorney Milly Athanason on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. They offer the very best nationwide coverage on 4G and 5G LTE networks and exceptional 100% US-based customer support. Patriot Mobile offers discounts for veterans and first responders, NRA members, and families with multiple lines. Learn more at patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. That's patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can reach out at 727-263-3707. That's 727-263-3707. And we'd be happy to tell you more about Patriot Mobile. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. You can reach me at 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, we got attorney Milly Athanason on the show talking about upcoming constitutional amendments here in the state of Florida. Of course, she practices family law, elder law, personal injury law as well. Support the local economy by supporting all of our show expert contributors. And Milly's been a longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We greatly appreciate everybody who calls into the show hotline or hits us up on the website, consumerqb.com. You can call or text the hotline anytime. Any questions you have, any categories, any introductions you need, we'd love to put you in touch with our experts. 727-263-3707, 727-263-3707. You can call or text that line with any comments, questions that you have on the show. And a quick shout out to our friends over at Replenish IV Solutions, longtime friends of the show. And Replenish IV Solutions, they're going to hook you up with the Myers cocktail or some version of a vitamin infusion drip going directly into your bloodstream. ReplenishIVSolutions.com. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. 5601 Blackfin Drive, Newport Richey. This is another one of our beautiful real estate properties. This is a great opportunity to own real estate in Tampa Bay. 3-bedroom, 3-bath. You have a garage as well, 1710 square foot, 3-story townhome, covered lanai, fenced in back deck with pavers. You come through a beautiful front gate, entryway there, covered patio. Upper levels can be accessed via the stairs or a private elevator as well. Private elevator at 5601 Blackfin Drive, Newport Richey, Florida. Great opportunity. You have amenities in the community as well. 2 community pools, fitness center, private dog park. You have beach access through the membership as well. Close to Newport Richey's downtown charm and a plethora of shopping and dining options just minutes away. Blackfin Drive, Newport Richey, another one of our beautiful real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team. 6020 Shore Boulevard South, unit number 406. This one's in Gulfport. 6020 Shore Boulevard South. 1-bedroom, 1.5-bath, 1170 square feet, 55-plus community in a waterfront paradise. Wake up to breathtaking water views and enjoy all types of great amenities. Sparkling pools, heated spa, tennis courts, pickleball, bocce ball, shuffleboard courts, and more over at this beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay, Gulfport. 6020 Shore Boulevard South, unit number 406. And you can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
All right, back to the phone lines here. Attorney Milly Athanason, and we're talking about upcoming constitutional amendments.
Yes. So, again, getting back to the abortion situation, this is something that, again, is going to be on the ballot in November, and the people will have the opportunity to decide whether they want to have that as part of our Constitution. In other words, it would then be a constitutional right, which is not subject to amendment by the legislature, because one of the big complaints that's going on is that the legislature just came in and whereas Florida had always been more amenable to allowing people to come here for abortions, it's now become very restrictive. Our neighbors to just above us, I mean, like Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, don't allow. They have like a total ban on abortion. Georgia and South Carolina, they ban it upon the detection of a heartbeat, which is around the 5 or 6 week mark. So this now says if it is passed by the voters, that means the legislature and the governor can't just come in and undo that. So
Milly, question for you. Just a general question, not as an attorney, just as a woman. What age do you, or how many months pass does the average woman know that they may be pregnant or they think they're pregnant? Like, how many weeks is that typical, would you guess?
I would guess around the 7 to 9 week mark in there, people determine that they're pregnant. So that's one of the complaints that people have with the 6 week ban, is that many women don't even realize that they're pregnant because, they may not have gotten a period and they're just going to assume, let's say, that they were late that month. They don't automatically assume necessarily that they're pregnant. I mean, obviously people that are trying, they're more likely to go out and run and buy the pregnancy test because they want to see right away if they could potentially be pregnant because they're trying. But this usually happens, the abortion situation a lot of times happens when you make a determination that, something's wrong and you're trying to eliminate what it could be. Right? So that usually happens, and then that's the time that people are going to think about abortions, is once they determine that they are pregnant, then they're going to think about it and decide whether or not they want to keep the baby. They were looking at the financial impact of that. And of course, when they're looking at the financial impact, they're looking on what the state may save dollar-wise and benefits that are being paid out. So they look at that. I mean, obviously, revenue is a consideration because other states that don't allow it, and if Florida did, they would get the revenue from that. But prior to these amendments in other states, Florida was grossing a lot of revenue from the performance of abortions in this state because it was what was deemed to be a more abortion-friendly state as opposed to our northern neighbors. Right. So, I think, the scuttlebutt, or what they're projecting, is that both this and the recreational marijuana use amendment have a very good chance of passing the vote because, again, it's 60% of the voters. So whether that happens, I guess we'll find out on November 4th. The other big one, which I think this could definitely be a sales point for you, Brandon, because in the real estate business,
1 minute.
What they're doing is they want to amend the homestead exemption laws so that every year on January 1st, the legislature would be required to review, and they would adjust the rate of the homestead exemption. So it's not going to just be limited to $25,000 anymore. They're going to use the consumer price index and the inflation rate to make a determination as what your exemption should be.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So, we've got Mike Twitty coming on tomorrow's show, Pinellas County property appraiser. I'll ask him a little bit more about that. Milly, take the final 30 seconds here and tell us a little bit about your business and where we can connect with you.
Absolutely. I have 2 offices in the area, the main one being in Holiday on US 19 and the other one being in Spring Hill on Deltona Boulevard. My website is www.athanasonlaw.com. I practice in the areas of personal injury, family law, and estate planning and probate, and I can be reached at 727-376-9100 or 833-ASK-MILLY, M-I-L-L-Y.
833-ASK-MILLY. Just give her a call. Ask her any question, and she's going to give you her best answer. 833-ASK-MILLY, Milly Athanason, athanasonlaw.com. Thank you so much for the update, Milly.
Absolutely. Take care. Have a good rest of the week.
All right. Likewise. Hey, another great show. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.